And that is, we believe that a free life, a free worldly life, is a life of many options. It's a life in which we get to select and choose, and we get to hedge our bets. If we don't like something, we can move in a different way. We feel the sense of flexibility, and direction is a part of the definition of what it means to be free. But in a spiritual life has no options. So I just want that to sit with you for a second before I follow up with an explanation. You see, just feel what it feels like for me to even say that. It feels like you're being robbed of something. It feels like you're in prison. And that's the kickback, the egoic kickback of the truth of reality. That's why we maintain the array of choices we have, is that we feel with a single choice we're in prison, which the sense of self is in prison with no choices. It flourishes with many, many choices, with many decisions to make. That's where it gains its power, its roots. But ask your body how many choices it has. That's the mental frame of reference is I have many choices. But how many choices does the body have? It's here. See, immediately you can see the difference, the disparity between the organ of the mind, which thrives within many choices, thrives within sort of a passing through mentality. I haven't arrived because I'm not sure I want to arrive. I've got to check this place out, sort of decide whether it's worth showing up. And then, if I feel it does, maybe I'll show up, but I'll always have a little pullback. There'll be 5-10% of me that keeps the keys in my pocket. Right? Just doesn't fully unpack. Right? That's the mental. You know that the mind is driving your spirituality when you have that hedging of the willingness to show up. You're keeping your choices available to you. But then ask what choices does the body have? So go to the body and see what choices it has. It's simply here. It's simply here. All the other work is of opportunities and possibilities and expectations. All of that array of hope, really. Hope not to be confined to now. The hope of not being confined to now is what the mind runs on. The body is now. Which one are we going to listen to? Well, it's obvious which one we listen to. We listen to the possibility of being somewhere else other than. And we do that. It's not malicious. We're just mistaken. We think we have other options, and that's the problem, is that we think we have other options, but there are no other options. There's just this. And you say, what does it mean? I can go in the back of the room or I can leave. Those are my options. You need to reframe what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the future. I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about the manifestation of reality. What is reality really consist of? What does it really hold? It holds now. It holds where we are. It doesn't hold anything else but that. And most of us have a very shaky psyche because we keep thinking we're out of place. We thinking we're a walking mistake, that if we had it together we would be taller, shorter, tougher, smoother, stronger, more beautiful, we'd be somewhere else, we'd be standing this, we'd be showing this, we'd be. There are no options here. And at first there's a crestfallen feeling, oh, you mean this is what I have to live with? Because some of us feel so shaky inside that when the reality crushes in, comes rushing in, that this is the disposition, this is it, then we understand why we have always made choices, because this is such an unpleasant reality to partake of, is to actually surrender to that. Of course I'm going to have other options to get away from the person I think I am. But something else happens, a transformative process happens when we realize we have no other options. It happens to you in every level, emotionally, spiritually, physically, psychologically. There's a transformation. The freedom within now arises to the surface when we don't have opportunities from now. We feel fear that we'll be just left with ourselves if I show up now. And we do have to deal with that pain. There's no question. And that's what hedges most of our bets. We just don't want to have to deal with the remnants of all the ways we've treated ourselves. And to show up for ourselves means that pain is going to express itself. There's no question. But that's not the end of the story. When the pain starts expressing itself from the position of the mind just tries to get over it or move on or go through it or wait it out or change locations or find a more pleasant area to sit in or whatever. It looks for the opportunities to adjust the pain away from it. But when you show up with now and you realize the pain is part of now, then you have to show up to the pain. There's no wiggle room here. And a complete showing up to that pain is its own demise, is its own elimination, is its own resolve. And meditation, spirituality, in its authentic form, is simply that. First, we have to convince ourselves that we don't have other options. Because we're so used to thinking in terms of the possibilities at hand. And if something's unpleasant, we move to something that's pleasant, or we just abstract and think our way out of that into a different reality. And we have such of flexible mobility of mind that it can just shift from one thought to another. It can discard this one and grasp that one. It can deny here and assert here. We're just used to that, living within those possibilities, within that plethora of adventure. But you drop 1 inch below the organ of the brain and you have no opportunities. And that happens to be the gateway to freedom. To root ourselves in the body. To have no recourse. There's no argument with it. I can't argue it. I can't argue about myself. What I should be, what I have done, the lack of forgiveness, all of that is mute. But a tremendous potential arises within that stopping. With the mind, you get yourself separate from the environment in which you can maneuver. When you drop into the body, you get everything except that. You are no longer the master of the moment. You have surrendered your control. You have lost your opportunity to be other than what you are. And that's the reason it seems to take so long to move from one position to the other. We don't want to give up that control. It seems too important. But where is it? Ask your body, where is that? In reality, not in the future. In reality, where is it? In this moment. And this moment leads to the next moment, and that's all there is. And then, what fills the system, the body, is a confidence. What arises out of the earth, the root system, through the root system, is the confidence of being. There's no apology for being here. You owe no one an excuse for being who you are. No explanation needed. Reality is faced straight on. There's no turning, there's no flinching back in a paranoid, will somebody see me or catch me? This is where we are. Everyone is willing to see me. There's no confusion. And everything serves everything. It is all in service to everything, including this organism. So as we sit today, see how many opportunities your body really has. And watch how the mind will argue that it has so many, and begrudges so much, and argues with every experience that's unpleasant. And there is a resolution to that, but you're not going to find it in your mind.